Okay, hey guys, back with another off-stream VOD review. Today we're going to be looking at a gold Widowmaker, Tracer, Genji, and Zayra. So gold flex DPS basically. We're going to be looking at Route 66, and as a little treat for you guys, we have the individual who submitted the VOD on comms with us to ask questions and get answers. Say hi, Apathy.
Hi.
Anyway, let's get right to it. Switch into main, and we're looking at Route 66. The timestamp for you, Apathy, is 39:45. And I've hit and play in 3, 2, 1.
One shot, one kill.
So what was the... I've watched one other VOD of you, and you did play Widow a little bit in that game, but you also played Soldier and Pharah. Is there any specific reason you decided to play Widowmaker here?
So this account is primarily for DPS.
Yep.
And so I just like Widow on this first point. I think also I may have looked at, and I'm not hitting tab in game, but I think maybe somebody, I don't know. I maybe was just pissed off about the last game and wanted to play Widowmaker. Honestly. I'm
Fair
not sure
enough.
there's a better reason than that.
You know what? I too sometimes just get angry and want to play some Widowmaker. So you don't hit tab a lot, do you? You almost never hit tab in the last game either. Where it was actually kind of funny. One of the clips from my stream got submitted to Reddit, and it was a clip of me shield jumping on Bridget doing the Brigitte doing the shield bash testing, where you could like jump off curved objects and things like that.
Yep.
And in
I watched that.
have you seen that clip where I just incessantly hit tab? Like I'm just like tab 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 to tab tab to tab tab, just smacking that tab button repeatedly. It's actually hilarious.
It's a meme now.
It's let me go see if I can find the clip for you, just so I can kind of demonstrate it here. But give me a second. Clips on my channel. Yeah, I believe it's this one.
The other one, but I got that one first try.
Ooh, see that?
Oh my goodness, this is dope as fuck, man.
Where else? Could you get up to the sniper spot over here?
Yep. Oh my god, that one's easy. That one's so easy. It's me on me.
You can get up to the Widow nest on B with just one charge.
Where?
Oh, I'm gonna go to B.
Oh wait.
Where?
Yep. Oh, I figured out that one too. I figured it out. Okay, so you have to be in contact with the thing that. Anyway, so I'm gonna link the clip to you here, but the big thing for you to look at in that clip is how often I actually spam the shit out of tab. And I do it constantly, just constantly in game, looking at what my team has, you know, the 15-second mark in the opponents coming out of their attack or defense room. After 15 seconds of the match has passed, the enemy composition shows up in the tab screen, right?
Right.
So I'll be hitting tab, you know, just looking for ults, looking at the enemy teams. Also, I just hit tab constantly because as soon as somebody switches off a character, it'll also be listed like instantly. There's no delay in a person switching a character to it showing up in the tab screen. So it's just become an ingrained habit of mine to just be constantly walking around, just hitting tab every couple, like 5-10 seconds. I'm always hitting it. And if you're watching me play, I'm always hitting tab because it's a source of free information. So never underestimate how important that tab menu really is. Just look at it, confirm that the enemy hasn't switched, confirm that your team hasn't switched without you noticing, who's alive, who's dead, who has ultimates. There's a lot of information there.
Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Good crosshair positioning, nice flick. He survived. Your Anna's paying nice attention to you. That was pretty awesome. So no use of your Venom Mine yet. And Venom Mine is 75 damage, and it can also strike multiple enemies. So definitely just be chucking that thing off cooldown, either on a flank if you're in like an exposed spot, or honestly, you can just chuck it as if it were a grenade into a group of people just for chip damage. And it's really good. It also gives you just line of sight. Like it'll allow you to see through walls. So you have thrown it once there, but yeah, Did you? I'm not sure if you didn't recognize that the Genji was there or not.
No, I saw. I deserved this death.
You deserved it. You were
I
a
deserve-
bad person. You deserve death.
Yep.
That's too funny. You guys each trade
Because
two.
I saw him and I think I said something in chat and then didn't do anything about it and he killed me. So I earned that one.
Now, why
I
did you
called
not do anything about it?
Genji
Was that
underneath.
you
I can't
didn't
ignore it.
hear him, or
Fuck.
like did you not hear him climb back up onto the top?
I didn't. Well, no, I didn't hear him climb up behind me.
Okay.
But I saw him and I should have known he was going to come that way.
Do
I
you
just
use
didn't
Dolby
think about it.
Atmos?
All Mhm. Oh no, my sound is great.
Okay.
I just
didn't react to it.
I was, yeah. And by the time I did, it was too late. And I said,
Nice shot. Pretty dangerous because he hadn't actually reflected yet, but good. Nice shots. Man, no complaints here. Very nice shots. That was like a 4K right there. Amazing what you can do when you're not getting pressure, right? I would almost never shoot a Genji, unless I know he's reflected. Like, if he's not looking at me, sure, because then I just headshot a friendly, right? But if he's reflecting at me, there ain't a fucking hope in hell of me pulling that trigger. And also, you should, instead of hard scoping a Genji, because he has no fall off and perfectly accurate shurikens, instead of hard scoping a Genji, you should constantly just be shield hopping around, or not shield hopping, scope hopping. Yeah, I'd grapple the fuck out of there. Never mind, just SMG him to the face, that works too. But, if Genji sees a, Widowmaker, they're always going to go for the Widowmaker. And one of the best ways you can do, or one of the best things you can do, is just, instead of grappling, left or right, try and grapple vertical at least. You may not always have an opportunity to grapple away, but you're usually going to be standing next to a wall of some sort. So if you just grapple vertically, the Genji will probably panic and have to reflect, and reflect will waste 2 seconds of his reflect if he hasn't.
And I'm not getting any better. I am not getting.
So yeah, like reflect.
Okay.
Sorry, not reflect, but like reflect can only be canceled by Genji if he uses Swift Strike. He can't kind of like reflect.
It cancels on wall climb too, right?
Yes, it does. So he can cancel it out of wall climb too, but the number of Genjis who can actually do that in a time that makes it worthwhile is almost none. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. But yeah, like grappling vertically to get away from targets is really good, especially if you can kind of scope them while falling. Nice shot.
What time are you at?
I am at 44:25. Gonna hit play in 3, 2, 1. You shot the Genji, and the Genji got you. Okay, that was a trade. I'll take it. Riptire should win that for you. It picks up the Ana. You've got sights. Again, just good. You finally hit tab. Was that enough? Was that long enough for you to get the information you need? Like, what do you?
I'm usually checking for ult status,
Okay.
and checking also to see who's dead.
You
normally do
are
hit
flashing
tab a
tab
lot
quite a bit here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not at the start of the
Normally I'm
games, I
okay
guess.
about it.
Yeah, you just don't seem to tab at the start very much.
Yeah, I guess once my team is out and I see the comp, I'm waiting for that 15-second mark to hit tab again.
Yep. For me, it's just a habit, right?
Yeah, and it's a good one. I need to work on that for sure.
Yeah.
Anything you can do to increase your awareness is good.
So your crosshair placement is actually pretty decent, if not a little bit low. And I just think you're a tad... Oh, that shot was so good. I think you're just a tad impatient with your shots. You're doing more of a drag shot than a flick shot. And do you know the difference?
Kind of dragging your cursor across and then clicking when it gets there versus flicking to where their head's at. And then
Yeah,
clicking.
so in a drag shot, basically what you do is you pull your trigger once you see your crosshair travel across the target, whereas flick, you don't have that confirmation that your crosshair is on target. You just know that you flicked the exact correct distance in order to land that shot. So against, what kind of monitor do you use? 60, 144, 240?
It's a 144.
Okay, so drag shots are certainly acceptable on 144, but they're also slower. So if the enemy is moving in any sort of awkward pattern, or doing a movement pattern, or being a mini diva, for example, your drag shots are going to be too slow, and you're not going to be able to actually react in time to pull the trigger. So against very quick moving targets, flick shots are basically snapshots in which you pull the trigger, at an exact moment in time.
Assuming that I want to do flick instead of drag, what's a good way to practice that?
It's consciously forcing yourself to move faster. It's recognizing the techniques and then practicing one until it becomes second nature to you. And it's going to feel awkward because flick shots, it's basically tracking. You're just incorporating a acquisition into an actual shot. And most people's acquisition, unless they've forcibly trained themselves to improve their acquisition speed, is rather slow. So it's just knowing the actual strategy, for example, and consciously forcing yourself to practice that so that you can pull it off without thinking.
Okay.
No, you could do it just in the training range against bots. So I'll just switch over to Overwatch. I paused at like 47:40 or so. Oh, we're in Chateau. Okay. I'm going to go to the training range. We'll pick Widowmaker, for example. And then, I could be off my target and then drag to my target. So it's just like a slow... Is my settings right? Yep. So yeah, what you do is you just drag to your target and kind of pull the trigger as your crosshair crosses the target. And then, like, really slow drags, you could be more or less tracking. And, if you actually kind of, like, follow the header wrong before you pull the head, that's, like, pure on tracking. But a drag shot would be either stationary or a target that is not moving in the same direction as your crosshair, and you pull your trigger as you just move your crosshair across the target. Yep. But if you're kind of moving in the same direction, it's not really a drag shot, it's more of track and then just pull the trigger. So in the same way that some people, dirty heretics, actually track heads on McCree and then just hold down the left click. There are some people who do that on McCree, and it disgusts me. But anyway, so if you do want to practice flick shots, for example, instead of drag shots, it's just a conscious effort to improve on that style of aim. So
it's just a matter of putting your crosshair, tracking with your crosshair, and then flicking immediately to the head.
Yeah, so it should be like... So the thing that we're trying to remove is that in a drag shot or a track shot, based on our reaction time, we're pulling the trigger reactively. Whereas in a flick shot, we're not confirming that the crosshair is actually on the target. We've just kind of gotten used to the distance at which our crosshair has to travel to hit the target. So it's, one motion is moving your hand and then clicking. It's kind of like a drag shot without the confirmation that our crosshair is on target before pulling the trigger. We are just trusting ourselves to have our crosshair in the right position based on our muscle memory and practice. So the difference between a drag shot and a track shot is a drag shot, you kind of confirm that your crosshair is on target based on reactions or predictions, and then flick shots are proactive. You pull the trigger without confirming that your crosshair is on the target. There's two kind of flick shots. There's the flick shot where you go to your target and stop, and then there's a flick shot where you kind of like start from a stationary position, flick to your target, and then go back. So there's two kinds. There's the one where you flick, but if you flick with your wrist on your fingers, what you want to be doing is flicking from a central position, and then like to the edge, and then back to the center, or whatever the even mouse is. So go up to
and
the
you
center.
definitely see that flick and then go back more on McCree than you do on Widow.
Yeah.
At least I do.
So, and the reason that you do that is most people use their arms, like most hybrid aimers will use their arms to look around, and then their actual wrists to flick. And the reason why they return to the center is so that when they actually like look around, they'll look around with their arm and then pull the flick off with their wrist or their fingertips, depending on their sensitivity. So look around with the arm, and that's why you want to flick and return, is based on the position of your hand. So flick and return.
Okay.
Flick and return. So that's how you want to do flicks. And it's just honestly conscious effort. It's proactive, so don't confirm that your crosshair is on the target before you pull the trigger.
Okay.
Yep, but there's no magic except just recognizing your aim and pulling the trigger when necessary. And people will also have a preferred flick angle. So some people like flicking from left to right. Some people like preferring from right to left. Some people prefer flicking from down to up. And if you prefer flicking from up to down, well, you're wrong. But those people are also dirty. So I would definitely recommend, just based on, you know, the structure of the hand, flicking from right to left or left to right. Up and down is a bit awkward, but if you flick up to down, then you're fucking weird. So everyone will have a preferred.
Now I'm going to teach myself how to
direction.
flick up to down.
Are you, just to spite me?
No. It feels weird. It's hard to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever encountered anybody who flicks up to down. I have encountered people who flick down to up, though. So. So yeah, this is, you know, training range, just normal bots, just flick, 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 boop, 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 flick. And you just don't want to confirm that your crosshair is on the target before you pull the trigger. You just know that your shot is going to hit. You just have to trust yourself to know the right set of actions that will actually hit the target. You just do that for a while, and that'll get your flicking down. Questions about that, or training your aim, or any other drills? And you can also use the
No,
training range for grappling.
Nope. I'll watch when I see the video. I'll be able to watch what you did.
Yep.
And replicate it.
Cool. So that's just some Widow flicks. So you do drags right now. I would recommend learning flicks. Each has their own specific purpose, but enough of that. Okay, back to it. I'm at 47:43 and the video is playing.
60 seconds remaining.
We're all soldiers now.
Team up for special attack.
Pass into the eyes.
So you should be on the high ground wherever possible. Really? That bomb actually killed people? What a fucking joke. What a joke of a bomb. Okay. However, I like to recommend this to literally everybody who does this, is that you focused so much on hiding that you were safe and you kept running, right? You're like, safe, but let's be doubly safe, and just kept running. You want to get to a position where you are safe enough, and then look to see if it's possible to kill the mini diva before she remix. Because
Yeah, I saw that on your stream today too. Yeah.
Wow, look at that. You're already on.
Yeah.
So yeah, just try your best. Your focus needs to be not just on hiding, but on hiding while attempting to kill mini diva. Even if you even if you kill mini diva and die to the mech yourself, that's honestly a pretty decent trade.
Right.
You've just eliminated a tank. So.
Right.
Yeah, one of the big things that you can do against a Genji who's blading like this is that after he's... The first thing is that he can't use Reflect if he's in his sheath animation. And most Genjis, for some reason, double jump every single time they want to pull their blade out. So if they're in their sheath animation, they're locked. They can't dash, they can't slash, they can't reflect. They can't do anything. So you are absolutely 100% free to helix them right in the fucking jaw if they decide to pull out the Reeb stick right in front of you. Alternatively, if they have dashed you, generally what Genjis will do is that they will dash through you or directly in front of you. The vast majority of Genjis, though, will dash through you at the ground behind you, then 180 slash. That's usually what they do. So a really good habit to get into on Soldier is going to be basically be ready to 180 helix the ground and then melee vertically. So they should just be your initial reaction to fighting Genjis. So if you're fighting a Genji, you're fighting a Genji, he blades or whatnot. If you're fighting him and he dashes, you just helix and punch upwards, because he wants to fight basically in melee range, right? So take the 40 damage, the 40 self damage hit, right? Take the 40 damage hit, because against a Genji, it will not decrease your time to kill.
Now, if you're saying so he flashes or he dashes through you, turn around, flash the ground in melee, right?
You turn around, you helix the melee and bounce him. And the other reason that you would do this is that helix has knockback. So if you manage to get the helix directly between you and him, it'll knock him back and knock you back from the rocket on the ground, which is the main reason you actually want to hit it in an area where you're gonna have knockback, so that if he dives too close, you helix melee. You'll get him with the helix, you'll melee him. But alternatively, or like your backup plan to escape from the Genji, is that he'll have been knocked back and you'll have been knocked back. So it's kind of like da 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 da, and then like, wow, I jumped. But anyway, so yeah, just your reaction against Genjis, if you can't get him while he's sheathing, just be ready to turn around, helix melee, and try and use the knockback to escape if the helix melee didn't kill him. So
got it.
Yeah, that's just some tips for fighting Genjis on Soldier.
Knock me down and I'll keep getting back up.
Yeah, so you should be using the high ground here, right? There's the semi-truck right up at the right. Use the high ground wherever possible on Soldier. It's going to give you nicer sight lines. It allows you to actually pick your targets. You dropped your healing station there at full health. You still had healers. You had a health pack. I think it was kind of like proactive. You didn't want to be killed by Monkey, so you dropped it early. But the problem with doing that against a Monkey is he can knock you directly out of your healing station, and then your healing station will be of no use at all. Good visor though. But definitely should be using the high ground wherever possible. And Sprint allows you to relocate very easily, very quickly, in order to attack people from new angles, surprising flanks, get a nice area where you can just, instead of trying to helix through them, you can helix the floor. When you attack the visor, their tanks can't zone you out nearly as easily. There's just a fuck ton of reasons to be on the high ground.
Okay.
Playing Tracer on attack, are we?
Yeah.
Yawn, getting a bit tired. Were you playing with my stream in the background during this game?
It's entirely possible.
I heard the very faint sub sound from my stream.
Yep. I'll listen to it between, like here.
Oh, that's funny.
And then I'll mute it and go back to game.
That's awesome. Appreciate that. What did you think of the analysis today from the Korean guy? Did you like that? Did you watch it?
I missed that.
You missed that?
Yeah, I saw the beginning of it, and then I got real busy at work and couldn't watch anymore.
I'm wondering if people actually liked that or not.
I'll have to go back and watch it. Was it like you had IOStucks on, like a guest analyst?
No, it was like there was a Korean guy who did a VOD review of a Nixel vs London game, so I basically watched that on stream and then made comments on the Koreans' analysis as well as just the game from my perspective as well. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Okay. Running Genji here. Nice. Hopefully they don't have a Winston. They did have a Winston D.Va on attack there, so this might not work out that well, especially since you're running Roadhog D.Va. Your Roadhog D.Va are going to want to take out their tanks. Oh my god, that's an enemy Mercy. What? That was an enemy Mercy.
In the tunnel it was?
Yeah. I thought for sure that was friendly, but it was hostile Mercy. What the hell? That's so funny why she was there. You're gonna die.
Ah!
So, it just felt like you were playing, more or less peekaboo with the D.Va, and then, like, if you it's kind of like the child's game where if I close my eyes, I can't see you, you can't see me, sort of thing. Just kind of like object permanence, right? There's it's not this also happened on the Genji, where you saw the Genji, you called the Genji, and then you kind of just like stopped looking about him, forgot him in about 5 to 10 seconds, and then he came and killed you. A hard scoping Ana is just easy kills. So.
Should be.
Should be. Well, you saw you got her back to half, right? And now the Mercy has to heal her instead of tanks, so that is useful. So generally your Swift Strike wants to be used
For the love of Christ, guys, all you have to do is kill the D.Va. Like, don't shoot at anybody else but the D.Va. Please.
The only thing you really want to save or use your Swift Strike for is to actually finish people off. So you used you missed 2 right clicks, and then you Swift Striked, and you got the Swift Strike damage, the 50 damage. But just using the Swift Strike to get generic damage in is a gigantic waste of that ability.
Right.
Because it's your resets, it's the finisher, it allows you to combo and animation cancel your right clicks and your melee really well. That's unfortunate. But yeah, so your Swift Strike should be used as a finisher or kept as an escape. So if you had attacked that Ana and she had slept you, for example, but you hadn't used your Swift Strike yet, assuming they didn't kill you in one hit, you would have woken up and immediately have been able to Swift Strike somewhere to safety. So just remember not to use Swift Strike for basically anything except finishing off kills with your combos or to escape from dangerous situations if your assassination attempts fail.
Okay.
Yeah, Genji's right click can be deceptively hard to aim. So, that Genji made the same mistake as you did. He used his cooldowns too early and pretty much had to get a kill if he wanted to get a reset. Nice, I love this. I'd bubble that Zen. Yep, good. Your Zarya play is honestly pretty decent. I would have waited until that Orisa finished her Fortify, so she actually got stuck into it. But other than that, no, it was good. And I like that you didn't wait to find 6 people in your grav, which is very common from gold Zaryas. They feel like they need to catch literally everyone on the enemy team into a graviton to make it worthwhile. But if you do that, they're going to have their entire team's DPS, their entire team's tank, and their entire team's ultimates just converged in one place, which means that they can pretty much kill you. So going for 2 kills with graviton, perfectly acceptable. Absolutely. So, did you need it to win that fight in particular? Debatable, but it's gold, right? So you don't have to be too worried about being overly precise with your ultimate usage and tracking yet. And by yet, I mean probably for another 1,000, 1,500 SR. But yeah, I also like that you bubbled your D.Va when she went in there instead of kind of like as she was taking damage. So being a little bit more predictive with your bubbles is always good on Zarya. Bubble them early so that they get more effect out of it earlier, and you'll have the next bubble on cooldown, to use again
sooner.
So yeah, so pretty much as soon as you predict they're going to take damage, like a D.Va boosting at an enemy team is going to get fired at, right? Just straight up. So bubbling them is usually a pretty good idea. Communication can always be helpful too, letting them know that they're going to be bubbled so that they don't have to defense matrix. But you're probably not going to get that. But you could proactively tell the D.Va, for example, hey, I'm gonna dive in, I'm gonna bubble you, and just little communications like that or little guarantees that the people on your team are actually going to have your support goes a long way for getting the most out of Zarya. Because if your team trusts you or knows that they are going to receive bubbles if they do a very specific action, they will be more aggressive with that action. You could kill that Genji, please? Yes.
Thanks to Moira, yeah.
Oh, the Ana purpled him, yeah, but that's going to be a blade. He telegraphs. Huge. I love that. Just nanoed the Genji, or grabbed the Genji only. And then I would have run at them, honestly. So you did have nano, and you have the Ana backing you up, so you could just run at them to get your next Graviton back. It's pretty nice of them to just keep healing that D.Va, so you got your next day. Are they going to Visor again? Nano Visor again? Jesus Christ. They're just cheesing you with Nano Visor. Huge bomb, though! Yep. It just shows you, like, 2 well-used ultimates can just be so powerful. Like, the Soldier's not even on the fucking high ground. The Ana's not even in the back. They're just nanovisoring from point blank and hoping for the best. Like, what a joke.
Well, yeah, and I think they're a duo queue too, so.
Oh, that makes even more sense. It's always why I hate fucking seeing, like, a Mercy Soldier duo on my team. I just know that I'm never going to get any heals from that Mercy, and it's so annoying.
Yep.
Nice bubble. Means that the D.Va can't fight back. Yeah, that's really good. I like that. So you knew that basically the D.Va wants to be in close quarters. So with that hog hooking the D.Va into him, you just know that he's going to be shot at by the D.Va as soon as the D.Va gets undone. So bubbling him, really good play there. Your Zarya's actually not bad. You might be, might be. This is a very big might because you're doing it. But so I like the fact that you're not waiting for like the opportune moment to grab, and that you're just kind of grabbing as soon as you know you can get a kill with it. Like trading Graviton for a Genji blade, arguable that was value. But because Genji does charge way faster than Graviton.
But it was a nano and blade, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't have used the nano. Generally, you want to receive nano as Zarya after your Graviton has completed, so you can get your next grab. But since you can't get ult charge during the duration of your ultimate, it's not very good to get nanoed during your grab. You want to be nanoed after your grab so you can start building for the next one. So your Ana fucked up for 2 reasons. A, didn't need it. B, didn't help. So here is really good. Basically, as soon as that defense matrix goes down, you can grab. Love it. Bit dangerous, bit late, but still good enough. Right clicks, not left clicks into grab. So do you know the optimal? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So left
45 damage.
Yeah. Right, so it's 45 at 0 energy. At 0, right? So at 100, it's 90. So yeah, and left click, no matter how thick the beam looks, it can only hit one person at a time. So you definitely you win this game. Nice. Nice. That was off the back of you, Zarya. You're a really good Zarya.
Yeah, I used to play her a lot.
Very, very good. And the third one we want to look at?
Tracer on... It's right after this. It should be Tracer on Lijiang.
Okay. I've skipped ahead to it. I'm at 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 30 seconds.
Hey, so let me ask you a quick question. Is there an existing resource for like sort of hero keys that you should be focusing on anytime you're playing any of these heroes, so that like if I'm playing Pharah or I'm playing Zarya or I'm playing D.Va, and I can look at a list and say, okay, when I pick this hero, these are the things I need to focus on. And it doesn't need to be a lot, like
not
3,
yet.
4, 5 things.
I'm building such a resource with a group called Gamers Group. They're making an educational Overwatch platform called Double XP.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I'm working on. The best bet, honestly, the wiki itself has some really decent strategy guides at the bottom of it if you scroll down.
Yep.
The Gamepedia wiki is specifically.
Yep.
But like all this YouTube and stuff is just a lot of fluff and not really advanced tips or not super helpful. I don't think I've found... Karku's stuff is good, but it's so brief. And all of the people who are worthwhile have so much content that it would be impossible to make a comprehensive list. So unless you can find... you're not, like the best you're going to find is the basic strategy overviews that are on Gamepedia. So that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of those sort of resources that are just like key tips to playing a hero available. Okay, so you're running Rhine, Diva, Reaper, Tracer, Mercy, Zenyatta. Not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, you're gonna flank through Dark. Nice. Full flank. Okay, I like it. You should be using at least some. Oh, please, 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 please. Yes. Nice. You should be at least using some blinks to arrive there faster. Oh my god, perfect. He did get res though. That's annoying. I love this. Yeah, I would have used. Oof, there was a concussion mine there. I would have used blinks instead of recall there to evade the damage, but it was good. And you showed yourself a little bit early there, because she can probably get back into spawn now. Yeah. So, still really good though. I would have hid to like bait the Mercy out of spawn, but I like this. I do like this.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so just if they can see you, right, the Mercy's going to hide. But if you had let her get maybe like 5 feet farther out of spawn, and the other great thing is if you wait for her to walk past you, everyone has a reaction speed, right? They're human, and Tracer can one clip people almost within reaction times. So I do this all the time in Tracer 1v1s where I hide around a corner. If they walk past me without checking their corners, easy one clip because they're just walking in a straight line, right? No troubles tracking at all. Nice, you dodged the flashbang. You don't have a health pack, and so you could take his.
Yeah, you saw me. I looked for the mega.
I did, yeah. Yep.
So then I was cautious about going back in.
Yeah, no, this is really good. You're aware of the health packs. Have you participated in the Tracer 1v1s that happen on stream?
Yeah, you and I did one.
Oh, so that's why you're confident to pick Tracer on Control Center, eh? I like it. I like it. So, the one thing that I don't like about your Tracer play is you're spending your time exclusively on flanks. So, for example, after you killed the Mercy, while you were waiting for... Also, definitely did not need that pulse bomb on the Junkrat. You know, even if you landed it, would have been a waste. But, yeah, so after you have pulled off a successful flank, you don't kind of, like, return to your team. So you want to be getting more value faster. The pace of your
my
plays...
team yells at me for it in this game, too.
Do they? Okay. I have
In fact, they're yelled at me just as I go back to... When you see me on point here, it's because they yelled at me for not being on point. And I was like, oh, you're right. That's probably right.
Yeah, so, like, it's not... You're still getting value, but... you need to get more value, and if you're not getting value on the flank, well, you know that there's an entire enemy team like on the point here, and right. So flanks are to get, you know, a large amount of value in a very small amount of time. You got flashed into a whole.
He came
hog.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's fine, but you can't spend your time exclusively on a flank because you are one of the DPS on your team, right? So right. Your team does need DPS.
Right.
And, like, you know, you don't have to stay on the point exclusively. Your flanks were good, and you're getting good value out of them, but the amount of value you're going to get out of them is going to decrease the longer you spend on the flanks. So try and make them quick and efficient flanks and then return. I was really hoping you were going to step in that.
You know what? I just saw while I was watching this video. I'm like, I saw that. And then why did I not? And I walked past it twice. I was like, I probably deserve to get caught in that trap. Oh, I missed that stick. I'm so bad at tracer sticks. I need to work on it.
Yeah, it's fine. Tracer sticks are hard. That's why I just generally recommend that tracers just trying to stick the...
tanks, yeah.
Yeah, just stick tanks. It's way easier. Harder to miss. Good practice. So there, the key thing that caused you to miss on Mercy is you stood too close there. And this is a problem with a lot of Tracer players. Do you see the engagement range you have on this Zarya? It's about 5 meters. You were getting a little bit closer at 3. But your fall-off range is 10 meters, right? It's a significant distance away. So if you're too close, the same minor adjustments, that's going to stick, isn't it? How did that not stick?
I don't know.
But the same minor changes in direction that people make at, like... 1 to 2 feet, it's going to require a much more drastic change in your aim than if the person was like 5 feet away, because the the distance they travel physically on your screen is way less if they are farther away from you. So yeah, the reason why you were missing so many shots on the Mercy there, like your aim is plat gold-ish, it's in there somewhere, but you were just too close. So even people with really good aim would have missed those shots. because it was just too close. That target was moving too fast across your actual physical screen to track properly. I wouldn't have been able to do that. A lot of GMs wouldn't have been able to track that. It's the positioning and like matching the movement of the target you're shooting at to put them into an area of your screen that is easily shot at, as well as making their motion less or require less physical movement of your mouse itself.
Okay.
Going for the flank again. I like it. Again, you have 3 blinks. You can always be using 1 and then letting it recharge. And then as soon as you get 3, you use another one for.
Yeah, I'm
movement.
paranoid about making sure I get to the fight with all my resources.
It's really good to be paranoid about having blinks remaining rather than using all of them dramatically. So I like the way you're thinking, but it's making you move too slow. Really great idea. You see the Zarya's low, you know you can kill her. You do get a bit tunnel visioned even after the kill, but I like that the target switch happened when you saw the target was low instead of tunnel visioning onto the Mercy. That was good. Ken, onto the Zarya. You're really good at tracking Zaryas. I dodged the pulse. Yep. Poof. Nice. So the one thing that you could benefit to work on, in the same way that you're consciously forcing yourself to flick when you're playing Widow, one of the things you want to force yourself to do on Tracer is trigger discipline, and the fact that if you're shooting and the enemy moves really fast because you were too close, and so their movements on your screen are too large. One thing you want to practice is trigger discipline. So if your crosshair ends up off target, you want to be able to recognize that and stop firing so that you can serve your bullets for when your crosshair actually is on target. You'll reload this, and your overall damage output will be much higher.
Okay.
You're dead. Oof. Triple bomb from D.Va, because this is gold. Yeah, so your aim, what's your sensitivity?
It's 1600 DPI, 3 in-game.
So 4800?
4800 EK, yeah.
Okay.
And I just changed it back because you and I did a coaching session and it was at 2.4 and you're like, it's way too low.
Oh, so this is on your
set it
new
to 3.
faster sensitivity?
Yeah.
So that explains that explains why you're
Pretty
overshooting.
sure.
You just haven't quite transitioned yet. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So like it's your tracking is good, but the only problem that I saw was overshooting. So if you've just increased your sensitivity, well, that makes perfect sense. So. What's your all-time high?
2514.
So you have made plat. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
think
say,
for one game.
I think low gold is too low for you. I was going to be surprised if you'd never touched plat. You seem like low plat-ish.
Yeah, I think honestly, I had, I think I'd written to you about, tips on improving my mechanics. But to be quite honest, the more I watch my own VODs, so I've started to do that where I record my games and I go back and do them myself. My game sense really sucks. Like it's just
like
bad.
not recognizing the fact that you have both your healers dead. That was the first game that we watched, right? So mistakes like that are quite apparent in the fact that you don't really know what's going on, and it's not the fact that you don't know, like how the game works. You know how the game works, but you play DPS, right? And DPS is not a role that traditionally is in a position to have good game sense, because they ton of vision.
But I do it. I mean, I play support on my main too, and I screw it
Oh,
up there
really?
too.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
just not.
that's something different then. But it's one of the tips that PvP, like the Junkrat player,
Hmm.
one of the tips that he gives is that the best way to both climb and improve at the game is instead of trying to solo carry, look at someone on your team, think about what they want to accomplish, and attempt to assist them in accomplishing that. So instead of being selfish in your goal, try and be selfless and assist someone else, accomplish whatever win condition they have in their mind. So, for example,
Yeah,
if you're
I've heard that
playing
before.
if you're playing Tracer and the enemy is running dive, but you have a Zenyatta, and you know that their Tracer is going to be going hard for your Zenyatta, hang a little bit farther back, and as soon as their Tracer tries to attack you, fight off their Tracer, because then you'll have Harmony, their Tracer will have Discord, and you can pursue, she can't escape, sort of thing. So you can kind of like change it up. But yeah, so that's definitely one thing that I think would improve your game is purposefully trying to find synergy with your team, as well as just having, again, a little bit better of an awareness of what's going on with your team. Like on that Lijiang control center map, when your team asked you to return to the point, did you have any idea about whether the fight was being won or lost?
No.
Yeah. So it was like that fight should have been an advantage because you spawn killed their Mercy, right? But
Right.
technically that fight was only a 5v5 because you killed their Mercy, but then didn't return to the fight to make it 6v5. So it was still
course,
a fair
yeah.
fight. So little things like that, like spawn killing is good, but if you spend too long on the flank, then you're just making things even. You're not giving yourself an advantage. So
Right. Okay. Okay.
your mechanics do need work. Your game sense and your positioning need work. Like most of your games or your positioning errors come from not using the high ground. Your game sense issues come from not realizing when targets are dead. Especially on Hollywood, that was pretty apparent where you didn't recognize, when people were dead, and you complained about not getting any heals when your healers had both gotten fragged for whatever reason. So the good thing is you have no glaring weakness. You're just you have a solid foundation, but all of your pillars can be improved. So you don't have one major weakness, you don't have one major strength that you're abusing. You're just very evenly mediocre. So
Yep. Very average.
very average, right? You are the average Overwatch player. If you're floating between 2200 and 2500, you are by definition the average Overwatch player.
And
So
that's where I am.
yeah, so if you do want to get better, you have to be trying to find the things that a non-average Overwatch player would do. So we're to the point where you do make mistakes here. And this is what I kind of just say about golds is that, if you want to get out of bronze, you have to frag. If you want to get out of silver, you have to frag harder. If you want to get out of gold, you have to stop making mistakes. And if you want to get out of plat, you have to realize that not making mistakes is not enough. Then in diamonds,
Right.
you're going to start to learn how to play with your team. In masters, you're actually going to learn how to work with your team as like a composition. So, in diamond, you'll learn how to like run, a work around a Reinhardt or something. Whereas in masters, you'll learn about dive comp. So there's a difference between like working with the characters on your team and working with the composition you have when you get into masters. And then once you get into grandmasters, which I'm sure you could do, anyone can make it to grandmaster, you actually start playing the game, right? So, but we got to get there
Right.
first. So
Right.
step one, stop making silly mistakes. Mistakes
Okay.
in positioning, mistakes in game sense, mistakes in mechanics. Those are all mistakes we have to weed out. Once we get you solidly into platinum, we have to work on doing what the average player does not or cannot. So once we're firmly into platinum, we need to work on, we're at the stage where just simply not making mistakes is not enough to climb anymore.
Okay.
Any
All right.
questions?
No, sir.
Cool. You have a great evening.
Thanks, dude. You too, man. Appreciate it.